about narcissistic abuse, personality disorder, and the beginning of a relationship or a friendship with the narcissist, where at the very beginning, in the idealisation, love bombing stage of the relationship, because at the beginning we are unaware that they are faking everything, including, you know, who they are. Everything they do is based on lies, and they are pathological liars, and we know that now, but at the time we're just going along with it and getting sort of spiked or drugged up into narco land on what I would call narco drugs, a bit like when somebody is on cocaine, they become addicted to how that makes you feel. The same as when a narcissist is gaining supply out of empathetic people, they're getting a high hit, the high hit that they get in idealisation phase. They want to drug you up in it as well. They want you to be as high as a kite, off your face on narco drugs with them. And what happens is that they can't keep up this irrational fantasy world forever, because it's not humanly possible to do that, because they don't have human qualities like we do, such as feelings of emotions and empathy. They find it very easy, and they like, as part of supply, they like to devalue and discard. They want to see you suffer, or they wouldn't do it in such a way that they do, where you're supposed to be in a serious relationship with tangible feelings. So what happens is that at the same time as them, like, sort of, you know, they're bringing you up in idealisation phase, and that it's like love bombing to the extreme. It's like a full whack injection in the first few days, weeks, months, and maybe even years in some cases. And they do this because they're actually getting supply from everybody else. You might be like the main source of supply, or one of the main sources, but then after a while, you know, it's not possible for you to feed them the exact same supply, because they want that exact same high hit that they get in idealisation. They want to permanently live in idealising stage, which isn't humanly possible. So therefore, because they've had to put up this whole pretense with you from the beginning, it's like they feel like they want to make you feel bad for having to do that, when you're genuinely doing it because you want to from the heart, and you want to get to know them in a genuine way. When they're getting to know you, it's not getting to know you for those same reasons, because they like you and they want to spend time with you and they want to get to know things about you. They're doing it because they want to get supply and use this information for or against you later on down the line, in order to triangulate and get other supply. Now at the same time, well, from the very beginning, they'll be triangulating and gaslighting and all the other tactics under the sun and the moon from the very, very beginning. And they actually give themselves away, because when you're having, you know, you're hanging actually, like, every single little thing that they do, they're lying about. Like, for example, a lot of narcissists, or male ones, I don't know whether the females do this as well, but the male ones, they can be like taking Viagra and stuff like that to like be able to perform in the bedroom and stuff, and that's something they might be secretive about, I don't know. But anyway, like little things, and also in conversation, when you're having conversation with them, they're giving themselves away, and they give you like these backhanded sort of compliments where they triangulate from the beginning, and they do this in different ways, where, for example, they'll either idolize or put somebody else on a pedestal, like an ex or a friend, somebody who's like still like a kind of enabler or a flying monkey to them. They'll either praise someone, but really what they're doing is comparing you to them, and they'll also devalue somebody else. They'll slag somebody else off, like most likely an ex-supply or a series of ex-supplies, ex-girlfriends, ex-boyfriends, where they'll slag them off and they'll call them crazy, and they'll say they're insecure, and they'll say things like, oh, my ex was so insecure and crazy, they were just absolutely crazy. And they'll do this because what they want to do is set in stone or set you up to be perfect supply for them, because they'll say things like, oh, my ex is crazy and insecure, unlike you, you're so relaxed and chilled compared to that. Like, they're comparing you, and this is a way to kind of say, you don't dare be crazy and insecure like my ex, who actually, what they're really saying is don't you dare call me up on my bullshit, because that's what the ex did. Therefore, they're crazy and insecure and all the other things that they're slagging them off about. Don't you dare. They want to put you in the place from the beginning by giving you a sort of backhanded compliment, whatever it's called. It's a manipulative tactic. So you sit there and go, poor you, oh, your ex sounds really fucking crazy, and like you're like chilled, but really it means that you can't act crazy or act rational. So when you call them out on something, they're going to call you crazy, and so on and so on and so on. This is how it works. And then at the same time, when they're kind of devaluing you and discarding you and ghosting you and doing word salad and talking in riddles and not giving you direct answers and making up a whole pile of bullshit to get supply and to make excuses, and they say things like they've got depression and all this kind of bullshit, but really they're seeing somebody else behind your back. They're probably seeing like 10 people or more, for all you know, and everything is just like one big lie. And at the same time, they're getting supply from your reaction, which is negative supply, because they've provoked it. They've provoked you to react to something that they're not responding to in a full-on, like, rational, upfront, honest way. And then they're also getting supply out of their new target or their new victim, which will you know, they're getting supply from both. It's like a full injection of supply to them, because they're feeling all smug about putting you down, because they're fed up of playing this like role. And number two, they're feeling smug about putting somebody else on a pedestal, because they're getting all the supply they want from this other person, because they're permanently high, living in idealized idealization stage, because they never want to come out of their like cloud, so to speak. So it's interesting how the narcissist from the very beginning is giving themselves away when they're like in conversation like with you. You could be sitting there kicking back, like drinking cocktails with them or going out for dinner or whatever, and they'll start having conversations with you to either idolize somebody else, like another friend, or put them down, in order to triangulate from the very beginning. And they'll be gaslighting from the beginning and talking word salad and doing riddles, but it'll be less obvious in the beginning, because there'll be all this full on love bombing as well, where you'll feel high. You will feel high. You'll feel as high as them with them, because with no consent they drugged you, like almost like hypnosis, and they kind of put you in this kind of narcissistic spell, a bit like, you know, the snake coming out and disguising itself as a little like confident but humble lamb, do-gooding by their children, trying their best, and then like giving you the poor me stories to do with their past and their upbringing. You know, my mum abandoned me and neglected me, and all this my ex-girlfriend was a bitch and she was crazy and insecure, when in fact all these are setups to draw you in, feel sorry for you, and then later on down the line use what you tell them information about yourself, personal and private, against you, to devalue you and discard. And so it goes on throughout all the victims or the targets or whatever, and that's it. Okay, well, what are your thoughts, and like, how do you feel about, you know, when the narcissist, you know, at the beginning of the idealization stage, how do you feel, you know, they go about it, and what are your thoughts about this? And it'll be interesting to know like what other people think, and you know, what happened to them and their experiences, and what kind of conversations did you have with your narcissist at the beginning that you think now, yes, that was a dead giveaway, and why didn't I see that, and now I'd be able to see it so clearly. And like the differences, you know, like within conversations with people, and how they manipulate and all that. All right then, well, leave your comments and I'll try and get back to them when I can. Bye.